Hello, 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 and welcome to not the 28th, not the 29th, but the 30th, 30th episode of the Pure Michigan Properties Podcast. My name is Dylan Mostyn, and joining me,
I am Shalonda Wather, founder, realtor of Wather Legacy Solutions.
Hey, Shalonda.
What's up, Dylan?
How's it going?
It is going well, thank you, dear.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good. Rocking and rolling.
We're rocking and rolling. As long as we keep rocking and rolling,
things keep going.
that's it. That's it. So, listen.
Yes.
What are you going to say?
I was just going to say, so let's hop into the episode.
Yeah, but before we do, the latest and greatest.
I forgot. So what is the latest and greatest going on with you, Shalonda?
So, latest and greatest is, again, wake up, take hold of the opportunity that the day presents.
Yeah.
And so that'll always probably be my running thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to share an inspirational quote, right? So, remember when you wanted what you have today?
Remember what I wanted today?
Remember what you wanted, what you have today.
Oh, yeah.
So that means that for everyone listening, those strikes that you swing at,
mm-hmm.
and those balls that you swing at and you strike out,
yeah,
is one step closer to your next hit. So
I was watching TikTok and I saw this one video and it was similar, very similar. It was like where you were a year ago from the past is exactly where you wanted to be today, right?
That's right.
And it's like always look at the things that you have today.
Yeah.
Back to the quote.
Absolutely.
And as much as like we always have goals, we have ambitions, we have different dreams. Where you are today is exactly where you need to be to get to where you want to go.
That's right. I like that.
So I love that quote. I think
it
made so much sense. But do you want to introduce the topic of what we're talking about today?
Absolutely. So you guys, as you may have noticed, there are some changes that we've made to our set if you're a viewer, but also just the way we present information. We hope that our aim is to bring you more valuable information out of each episode. So today we're going to just go over and discuss the recent NAR settlement lawsuit and the changes that are underway and how we do business going forward. In addition to that, I also wanted to share, we're going to discuss a little bit about interest rates, where they are and how they correlate with the market conditions. We're going to give you a little bit insight as well of the market conditions and share more about what's coming along for the next week.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
So let's tell the audience, so the changes that the settlement has actually hit. So now the way that agents do business looks a little differently compared to previously before August. Mm-hmm. So now that we're in a new system, really, at the end of the day, I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
Has any of your business really changed? No. Okay. So tell me about it then.
So first things first, as we've been discussing each and every episode, is our buy. Mm-hmm. And certain outcomes that may arise. Mm-hmm. So nothing has changed. Before we ever shop, mm-hmm. we are under a service provision agreement, mm-hmm. which is mandatory now. Yeah. Whereas in the past, I think some agents did shortcut. Yeah. And they were taking buyers out to see properties
without an agreement.
And so there's nothing that has changed with the way I do business, right, to be honest.
And I'm glad that you said that, because that's the exact same way for my business. Really nothing has changed. The only thing that I have changed in my business is now I'm picking up the phone. Well, I've already picked up the phone previously, but I'm asking, because the change that we've noticed on our back end is that the listing side in the MLS, the multiple listing service, mm-hmm. we don't see if there is a buyer broker compensation on there. So now the only difference really in my business, and I'm assuming you could say this exact same, is that I just pick up the phone and I give that listing agent a call and I ask. And if they are, great. Yes. If they aren't, that's a conversation I have with my buyer and saying, hey, I just want to let you know, out of the 10 homes we saw or we're mm-hmm. going to see, these 3 are not offering it. Are you willing, would you be willing to per our contract,
Right.
would you be willing to compensate me for that if that's the house that you choose? And that's a conversation they'll have and we'll have as well as the agent.
Indeed.
And if they are, great, let's go see it. And if not, then that's a different conversation.
That's
and
right.
we find out different solutions for that, for the specific problem that we're
Okay.
dealing with.
And that's fair enough, because that's the one thing that really has changed, that will impact a lot of business, is that because those commission compensations are no longer listed, like you said, in the MLS.
Right.
And so the conversation between agencies and brokers, that they do change there.
For sure.
I always mention in our buyer's consultation, like for new construction homes and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
or even, let's not even say new construction homes, but for sale by owners, you don't know if they're offering any type of, compensation for
Right.
a commission.
Right.
And so that's
That's a
where-
great point too. Right.
Right.
Because they're not listed in our database of homes.
Exactly.
So it's the exact same process where we just pick up the phone, call. If it's a for sale by owner, we call the owner. If it's a new construction, we call the builder.
Mm-hmm.
And we figure out, is there compensation?
Yes.
And if not, then that's another conversation.
And then part of the buyer consultation is going over and determining what the buyer's purchasing power is to
For sure.
uncover whether they'll be covering commission.
Correct.
Because commissions have always been negotiable,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's take that.
Yeah.
That's a stigma, I guess, that you would say is attached to
Right.
the lawsuit, right?
Right.
And also, they have always been considered a credit to the buyer if the listing side, if the home's owner or property owner were extending that.
Correct. And
So-
then that would be a breakdown on the Alta statement
That's
for
right.
when you guys are closing on the house to
Yep.
see, and it'll show you all the breakdowns of that information. But I like what you said, it's always been negotiable. It's never been a set,
Mm-hmm.
whatever rate. Your business might charge this, that agent's business might charge this.
Yep.
And you get to determine as the consumer, as the client, really where you want to go.
That's right. That's right. And so the NAR, to reiterate, the NAR settlement and lawsuit just was to decouple the commissions.
Mm-hmm.
And so
For sure.
that's
But I mean, I would say at the end of the day,
pretty much it.
nothing's really changed because I know for Shalonda and myself, we always have that conversation, that consultation with our
Yeah.
clients beforehand, and then we have that written agreement saying that that you'll be represented.
Well, Dylan, let me ask you this, right?
Yes.
And because I know for my business, I'm just not in the business to sell homes. The home selling process and buying process, it has not changed.
No.
Let's be honest, right? And
Correct.
so how we do business is to bring our customers and our clients, value.
For sure.
Right? And that value comes with knowing different economic factors.
Yes. I like to
Right.
say, sorry not to cut you off really
No
fast,
worries.
but I like to say I'm selling the sizzle on the steak. I'm not
Yes.
selling the steak.
Yeah,
You can go out and find the steak yourself,
absolutely.
but the sizzle is really where we're
I
at.
love that. I love that. And so, you guys, you got to know that we're still working for you and there's no changes.
Literally, I mean,
We're-
at the end of the day,
Yeah,
business as usual.
that's it. That's it. Aside from that, let's talk, interest rates?
Yeah, let's do that. We could also talk about like just the market trends.
Yep, let's talk about
So
that.
do you want to start off on interest rates?
Yeah, so interest rate, you guys, if you've noticed and if you've been following, they have declined, right? So there's been a reduction in the interest rates. And also the Fed's Reserve,
Mhm.
right, have announced too, there's another round where those interest rates could drop.
Correct.
So-
Yeah, they did put that out saying that they will be lowering it.
Yep.
I don't know if they said a specific time.
You know what? We're not gonna do that with
Fair
the
enough.
government. It's the government.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
They do
They
things
did
on
come
their
out
own
though.
time.
Yeah. Fair enough. That's funny.
I don't think we're on the same clock.
That's,
So, yeah.
that's funny. They do their own thing and we just
Yeah.
You see jump, we say how high.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But no, I did read that. Yeah, they are expected to drop. So that gives hope to those buyers out there who maybe their affordability is a little bit tough right now.
Yeah.
And then that starts another conversation when those happen.
Well, and let's point out, right, the affordability aspect of mortgage interest rates dropping, because when interest rates do drop, that does allow buyers to afford more. It grants them more purchasing power.
Exactly.
So yeah, and it can also make it the market more competitive, right?
For sure. So I think this is where we're going to go with it, is that if you're having that thought, let me wait till those rates drop, guarantee you
Yep.
there's going to be a bigger pool of people who are also thinking the exact same idea as you.
Yes.
And guess what? They're probably going to go after that same exact house,
Yeah.
like it, love it, can picture themselves there, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to write an offer.
Right.
And when you go into multiple offer scenarios, that's when the competition really starts to bring up the price, and then really it can get crazy out there.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of people that will go over ask and the number that they're over giving,
Yeah.
right? It's crazy.
It's crazy.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, it really depends on everyone's scenario. Everyone has a specific situation.
Yes.
And I think that's where a conversation starts.
Yeah.
So that's where I say always talk with your trusted realtor and see what the best case scenario is for you and really where you want to go in this whole process. If you can buy now, I think. But if you want to wait, definitely do that. But that starts with a conversation.
That's it. And I think that is, if I may add, it's important to know where we are as a state overall, in the, just to help you understand how real estate plays a part in the economy. And so homes are still going to sell.
For sure.
No matter what the interest rates are.
Correct.
People still need a home, and people are still investing.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, being in the market each and every day, the activity is still there.
Yep.
It still supports the industry.
That's right.
And it's just, I think at the end of the day, and I wholeheartedly believe this, I don't like when people say, oh, like, everyone's ready to buy and sell. I'm like, no, they're not. No. I think at the end of the day, like I said, like I keep circling back to, it just starts with a conversation and seeing if it's really meant for you right now.
Yeah.
Or at least we'll get you that game plan of like, hey, maybe in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now. But you won't know that until you have that conversation of really what's your situation looking like.
Yeah.
Is this the right time? Is it the wrong time? What's the game plan?
Because let's talk market conditions, right?
For sure.
So, what are you seeing in the market and in the industry?
So I've noticed in my areas that I service, homes are staying on the market a little bit longer.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot more price reductions to homes.
Okay.
So it means motivated sellers who are
Yes.
like, I need to sell my home.
Mm-hmm.
But the buyers just aren't supporting either that price point that they're offering, or they're just not looking in that area, or maybe that home is just very unique to it's a smaller pool of people.
Right.
To where it's harder to find that one person who at least will submit an offer. And we still don't know where that offer is landing at.
Correct.
So, I mean, like I said, a lot more price reductions I've noticed in my market, as well as the days on market has increased significantly.
Well, and what do you think that's attributed to? Do you have any idea?
So, I think for me in the areas that I service, it's a lot of families, right? So, I think that if in August, really, that's when people beginning of August really is huge on vacations.
Yeah.
People go on vacations, they either go up north, out of
Yeah.
the country, different states. And so a lot of the activity in the real estate industry starts to pump a little bit of a break.
Okay.
And also, August brings back to school time.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the mentality of like, hey, let's put our house up for sale. Let's do the home improvements that we needed to do. Let's go start looking for homes, right?
Yes.
I think it starts to slow down. And I feel like, from what I've also noticed, a lot more investors start coming in too, because they're like, okay, maybe we can start getting more great deals.
Right.
Because it's not as hot of a market. They're still looking for a great deal, because at the end of the day, they'll buy anything for the right price.
Yeah.
Right? So, I think that's where the upshift will start to come into.
Okay.
But for, let's say, like a typical colonial house, I've noticed they sit on the market a little bit longer with more price reductions happening frequently.
And that's fair. That's fair.
What have you been noticing?
So I've been noticing a little bit of the same trend that you've been noticing, that homes are sitting on the market a little longer.
Yeah.
And, you know, the communities that I service and neighborhoods that I service. And so I'll say this. It's also a hit or miss as far as some of the neighborhoods. I think it's just really dependent on the developments that's happening and what's expected to come.
Okay.
I've had many conversations with investors regarding certain areas and neighborhoods where those homes are selling fast, but those are also not move-in ready.
Yes.
So for the family homes, like you said, due to spring break, I'm sorry, not spring break, summer break, families getting out, they're vacationing.
Right. They're wrapping up their summer.
Yeah. They're not out trying to buy houses unless, like, they absolutely have to, like, it's necessary.
Correct.
And
I also want to add to the point, if they're still looking for that house, right? That doesn't mean, let's assume it's going to be another at least 3 to 4 weeks before they close on that house.
Right.
And by that time, you're already in September, beginning of October, your kids are already well established into their school systems, if they have kids. Or, you know, I mean, it's a weird time in the market.
It is. It is a weird time in the market because I also was listening to some of the concerns regarding the unemployment rate.
Okay.
Which are rising.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about macro and micro.
Let's do it.
Right? So they are rising on more of a macro level.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Micro, there's still a lot of opportunity for employment.
Yes.
So.
Yes. I feel like, and I love that you just brought that up, both macro and micro, because I think when we watch the news as a whole, obviously they're talking macro. They're talking countrywide, like, oh, everyone should be freaking out because no one's working, right? Well, then also when you get narrow that lens down, you can still see that, like you said, there's opportunities out there, but people like to see the big picture. I like to say it's like the news headline.
Okay.
Right.
I like that. And then too, I want to add that our buyers and that are in a market that's looking for homes know that there is something out there for you, right? And I think that just maybe what their original ideal or vision was is shifting a little bit more.
I think that's a great way to put it. For sure.
Yeah, and I think that's just right now what's attributed to some of what we're seeing. Some of the conditions. But guess what?
What, Shalonda?
This is a perfect opportunity for you guys to get started now. For sellers looking to sell your properties and for buyers looking to buy homes as well. Like, there's no time like the present.
I think especially just because we're on like the real crisp of winter coming in.
Yep.
So like, let's say you put up your house today. Let's say right now, I mean, like you said, right, there's some houses that just still sell off the market, right? If we're looking at Livonia with a colonial 3-bedroom, 2-bath, let's say, for example, if it's still priced accurately, you could sell that within the weekend.
Indeed.
You could, right?
Indeed.
But, I mean, there's some, let's just use that case scenario, right? Sell it that weekend, again, 3 to 4 weeks to close. You hit right before that winter time. And when you hit, from what I've noticed, when you start to get into that winter time, the buying pool shrinks pretty crazy, right? But on the flip side, thinking glass half full, when you're looking at wintertime, when people are either selling or buying, those are some of the most serious people you'll find.
They're highly motivated and they're ready to make those offers and they're ready to list their homes because they're ready to move forward in the next process and chapter of their life.
Correct. Just imagine, would you want to go out in a blizzard looking at houses if you weren't that serious?
No, Dylan, I would not.
I wouldn't want that for you.
No.
So I mean, I wouldn't do that for myself either.
That's right. So, still so much opportunity.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it just starts with a conversation about really, what does that timing look like for you?
And you know what? I just had a brief conversation via social media with an old classmate of mine, right? And their concern was, hey, I got to get some things fixed, you know? And like I mentioned to this classmate, we were in both JROTC together, and we did our pre-nursing, so our CNA courses together in high school. And they always taught us that before we execute anything, prepare yourself, gather your materials, and there's no difference. Right? Make sure you reach out to a professional, come up with a plan, and if right now isn't the time for you to execute, that's okay. Like you said, we determine when, we get you connected to whatever respective professionals that you need to be connected to, and then when the time comes, we execute or implement change at that time.
I even think about it on the aspect of, I think it's great when you're not ready.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You now have a game plan.
Now you have a game plan
from trusted resources, right? Rather than you just thinking like, oh, maybe it's a year from now.
Yeah.
Because maybe that year from now you're doing the wrong actions to get you to where you needed to be, and you would have never known if you didn't start with that conversation. And
then too, we as we grow, as we get older, we should always, I feel like growth is necessary, and change is constantly evolving, right? It's on the horizon. And so having those goals and knowing where you want to go, back to the quote today, you know, now is the time to set yourself up for the success.
I like to think about it as, where do you want to be a year from now? If you still want to be in your same place, fabulous. Good for you. If you want to see a little bit of change, have that conversation. What does that change look like for you? How do we get into digestible steps to get you to where you need to be, where it doesn't overwhelm you? It doesn't we don't want to scare you.
And that's the thing. I'm sorry, let me jump in, right?
Please.
The whole point of getting started today is so that you're really not overwhelmed in the process, right? Everyone does not handle, you know, stress and pressure the same.
For sure.
And I think that as buyers, right, those that are ready, those that are in the market now, they prepared for this day.
Oh, right.
Right? And so the other buyers who they're just ready to go, they're more so investors.
For sure. They've already been through the process maybe a handful amount of times. They know, I would say, the foundation of everything. Maybe case by case scenario, there's a couple other hurdles in the way.
For sure.
But they know the foundation enough to know what they know and what they don't know.
Right, and what they need to go ahead and
know. Oh, perfect way to say that. Exactly, what they need to know.
And what they need to know. And so, you guys, it's nothing to it but to do it like Nike.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Just do it like Nike.
They really have a good slogan.
That's it.
Good for them. Good for them. So if they're ready to at least have a conversation, Shalonda, how do they get in contact? So
the best way to contact me, if you're ready to have the conversation, is to reach out. I'm available by phone at 586-339-8321. You can pick up and call, or you can text. It's really your preference. Or you can email if you're that type of person. And so my email address is Shalonda, spelled SHALAUNDA@kw.com. Dylan.
Or you can definitely just check out my website if that makes it more easy for you or convenient. The website is dylanmostyn.com, spelled DYLANMOSTYN.com. And I always look forward to having a conversation with you guys.
And so you guys, I think that we're going to wrap this episode up. We will return next week with more valuable information that you need to know.
Ooh, love that. You need to know
that you need to know. And so thank you all for joining us.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Bye.